Hello everyone, welcome to Class versus Zoom workshop. This workshop is intended to show you the new features of Class and also how to download Class and access it using Canvas. We called it Class versus Zoom because we want to leverage your knowledge of Zoom to show you all the new cool features of Class. All right, so what is Class? Class is the next generation virtual classroom. It adds teaching and learning tools to Zoom to enhance the learning experience online. You're going to see a whole bunch of new student engagement tools, enhanced sharing features, added learning tools. We're going to take the 30 minutes that we're together and we're going to provide a 15-minute overview or so of all the new features when compared to what you already know for Zoom. And then the last portion will be a step-by-step guide of how to download the app, the significance of that, and how to access Class on Canvas. All right, so as we mentioned, Class is Zoom plus all these other new features. And we'll go one by one explaining what to look out for. The first thing you'll notice is that Class is very much like Zoom. You see all the tiles as you are very used to. The menu at the very bottom is very similar. You've got the unmute button, the start video, share video, reactions, raise hand. All of that is very familiar. But the first thing you'll notice is that your professor is now on the left on what we call the instructor podium. So you no longer have to look for their tile or be guided by their voice. Now you'll know exactly where they are. And this is significant because you can easily message them this way, locate them quickly, to message them, to interact with them. If you have a speaker for the day, they will also be featured here. Or if you have, for instance, a sign language interpreter, they might also be pinned to the podium or be there in lieu of your professor. You'll also notice you have a list of participants on the left, and you have some of the reactions there. The next feature that is new is the functional tabs. So you've got this very first one that's titled Classroom, then Syllabus, then one that's called Conversion Evolution. So this very first one is your Classroom tab that if you click on it contains all of the cards, with everybody's faces, if they're sharing their video or their names, right? So everyone that's in the room, in class with you will be under Classroom. Then this is a file, right? That's why you have the little paper clip. This is a file that has been shared by your professor. In this case, in this example, is a syllabus. And we'll talk about how all of these are interactive. But we're just featuring now the tabs. The last one, it looks like it might be a link, this Conversion Evolution one. But you'll also notice that you have some tiles here that have been pinned by your professor. So this is very intentional. It's not random at all. You have the instructor cam, you have the sign language interpreter, and then you have another cam class. So yeah, you should be on the lookout for those tabs. The next thing you'll notice is that, or actually you won't notice this because unless you are a presenter, you won't be able to see this. But no, we're going to share it today because I want you to know that it exists. Your professor has the ability to organize the tiles in the classroom, right? To everybody that's participating. Here, using the drop-down menu, they can organize everybody in alphabetical order. For instance, if they're taking attendance, they can organize everyone by reaction to see who has given, for instance, a thumbs up. They can organize everyone by questions asked. So like if they raised their hand, they can see who has raised their hand, and whoever raised their hand first will appear at the front of the class. Another really cool thing that they'll be able to see is your level of participation. So here in the screenshot, we've seen how these tiles have the red little bar, these have yellow, and these have green. So this denotes that these students have below average participation, these have average participation, and these have above average participation. So if you see that your professor is calling you, they're probably using this participation from seating chart, and they're noticing who is active in class. Another new feature is the reactions. Right now it's enhanced. You are very used to using the clap reaction, the thumbs up, thumbs down, that you love something, that you thought something was funny. But now you'll also be able to tell your professor that you need a break, maybe to go faster, go slower, answer yes and no questions, ask a question, and you can choose whether to share these reactions with everyone or with just your instructor or the presenters. And they'll be able to see that here. Actually, they'll be able to see that in two locations. They'll be able to see that on the list of participants, right? For instance, Rob, well, actually, we'll get into the googly eyes in a minute, but like Jimmy has raised their hands. Elsa would like the presenter to go forward. Vanessa is clapping and raise their hand, and so on. Another way that they can see it is on your tile. So for instance, Tia here has her hand raised, and so is Jimmy. And this Tia has also said no, right? The X. So yeah, you have enhanced reactions. You have additional reactions, and you have the ability to choose who you share those with. All right, so those googly eyes, the little eyes are actually the lose focus tracking feature. It shows when you are currently using another application on your computer. So this is a classroom management tool for your professor. If you navigate away from class to open up a new tab, and to browse outside, they'll be able to see that you've done that because there'll be these lose focus eyes that will pop up next to your name. Now, you won't see that because only whoever is in the podium, the instructor or the presenter, whoever has that mode, will be able to see that. But yeah, they'll be notified that you are using another application on your computer. Another thing that they'll notice is when you have asked a question. So we're used to putting questions in the chat box in Zoom, but now you'll have a little bubble that appears next to your card. And this is really cool because now your question or comment won't go unnoticed, right? It won't go away from the card unless your professor clicks on it or it's viewed, right? So that's a cool new feature. Another thing that they'll be able to do is share content with you. So let's say they share an assessment, quiz, or test with you. This will be completely interactive. You don't have to navigate. It's not a link that they drop in the chat box that takes you elsewhere, as you're used to with Zoom. And it's not that they're sharing their screen. It's a document that they've shared with you, right? An assessment, quiz, test that you can interact with, that you can scroll through, that you can answer and submit. And your experience of the quiz is independent of other people's, of your peers' experience with the quiz. So that is, I think, very, very cool. Yeah, it's a complete interactive experience, and you're not navigating away from class, and you're able to submit the quiz or interact with the assessment that they are sharing with you. Likewise, they'll be able to share anything that they have on Canvas with you on class. So you'll see these will be under learning tools. In fact, I think, yeah. So you'll see like a little symbol up here where you can see the learning tools, and you'll be able to access all of the modules that are in your Canvas class, assignments, even grades, I think. But definitely like this, if they want to share a quiz or if they want to share, an assessment, you'll be able to interact with it within class. So you'll be able to scroll through it. You'll be able to read and answer questions and submit your responses within class without having to navigate away or opening a new tab and you outside. But we'll see that you have this in a different tab. You have the classroom tab where if you were to click on it, you have all the tiles of everybody in the class. And then this is a link that they've shared, right? Okay, so another thing that they can share with you, professors can share a website. And again, this will be completely interactive. You can scroll through the website here on your own. You can click on any of the links. You can search. You can completely interact with this without affecting anyone else's experience of this link. Yeah, all within class without leaving. And again, you'll see here that you have 2 tabs, one for your classroom, which has all the tiles of everyone in the class, and also this one with a little symbol, the little world symbol, that tells you it's a website. They can also choose to share a video with you. And when they're, right before they share the video with you, they will be prompted to select who controls the video. So they can choose to control the video for the whole class. And you'll see that in this example, they are controlling the video for the whole class, or they may choose to let everybody control their own playback, which is very useful because when they let you do that, you'll be able to advance forward in the video or go back to review a concept or to find a concept. So that's another cool feature. And you're not navigating away from class. It's not a link that gets dropped in the chat box. You can interact right there with the content. In this case, a video. So this is another learning tool. You are likely very familiar with the whiteboard, and as you would expect, you're going to have all of the things you're used to, all of the shapes, the letters, the colors, the highlighting, all of that. But now you'll be able to manipulate documents that are added to the whiteboard. In this case, this is a PDF that you can add text to. So in other words, you have an enhanced whiteboard with class. Another learning tool that they can use is a shared file. So they can, normally with Zoom, you would have to share your screen or you would have to upload a file into the chat box and then the students in the class would be able to download it. Now with class, they'll be able to share the file and you can automatically preview the file. You can interact with the file, scroll through it, save it, download it. So yeah. So again, just to review, you have these folders up here. The first one is your classroom folder with all the tiles of everybody in the class. You've got the what's the difference folder that's with the little symbol that denotes that that's a link. Then you've got an introduction to phylogenetic ... That it gives you a little player symbol, which tells you that's a video. And then you have the intro to Bio 101 with the symbol. It's like a paper, like a Word document. So that tells you that that's a file. And you can navigate through the files, the folders on your own, right? And that doesn't affect anybody else's experience of your class, So yeah, all of this is interactive. Another thing to look out for is that now your professor will have, and you will have enhanced breakout room views if you are made a presenter, but this is what they will see. So normally with Zoom, they are not privy to what happens within the breakout rooms unless they join one. But now they'll be able to see at a glance what's happening in every room. So they'll be able to see. They won't be able to hear, but they can use the reactions that are happening in the list of participants to see what's happening. So for instance, they can see that Francisco has given a thumbs up. They can see that Tom has given a check mark. They can see that Elsa is saying to go forward. And you don't see it here. Oh, there's the symbol right here. So they might see this symbol, and this symbol tells them that someone is speaking. So even though they can't hear it, they can, make conclusions as to who is participating. They can also choose to share a file with either one breakout room or everyone, right? And of course, as usual, they'll be able to choose who goes into the breakout rooms, either at random or, very intentional, who goes where. That still stays the same. But now they'll be able to see what happens and they'll be able to, draw conclusions based on what's happening in the list of participants. This is a cool feature. You'll be able to have private discussions with your professor. So let's say you're very shy, right? And you don't enjoy having a discussion with your professor in front of everyone, and you prefer to have that privately. You can enter a private discussion with your professor, and then it's just you and your professor having the private discussion. Another really cool one, this is one of my favorites. I think it's very useful for, so that you can study later. As the class is progressing, all of the things that are being said are being recorded, right, by this notes feature. And if someone shares a file, a video, a link, everything gets recorded there. And then there's this feature down here where you can add a note. So you can add to these notes, and those additions are just for you. You can also highlight certain sections that you found useful or that you want to come back to later. So this is entirely your own. And after you have interacted with the notes, you can always download them to study later. So that one I think is very important. You should remember. Yeah. All right, so we've reached the end of the overview of the new features that, as you can see, are quite similar to what's happening with Zoom, but they're enhanced. So there's more now that it's available. Now we're going to look at how to download class, because that's very important, to download the app and to use it via Canvas. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the class download page. I'll add that to the chat box. And so this is what it looks like. You're going to click on download, all right? I actually already have it on my desktop, so it'll ask me to update it, but it's not gonna download it again. But you click on download and then download the latest version of class, and you'll see that it pops up. So if I click on download, you notice it coming up here, right? And you can see it's uploading. Once it finishes downloading, make sure that you follow the prompts. And the most important part is that you click on SSO. Okay, so single sign-on. Make sure you click on SSO, because you want to be able to log in as an MDC student. And to do that, you must enter the MDC-edu in the company domain. So MDC-edu, I'm putting that in the chat box. And then that'll take you to that sign-in page that you're very familiar with, right? Every application at MDC is going to require you to log in using your MDC account, and you should be very familiar with this sign-in. It's going to be your MDC account, so first name dot last name and 00 whatnot, and then your password. So then you'll be prompted to grant shared access permissions when you first launch class. So click allow, all right? And then we want to mention that you should be joining class through MDC, through Canvas, all right? So let me, I wanted to show you what that would look like. All right, actually, I can bring it over here. All right, so remember, you're going through portals, you're going to Canvas, you're clicking on your class. Let's say you're taking an SLS 1510. So on the left, this is the instructor's view, but on the left, it's very similar. You click on class, right, instead of Zoom, because your professor may choose to use class instead of Zoom. And then you just click on join classroom. They may have created a schedule, right? They may have scheduled a session, in which case you would see like a join button here on the right. But, it's very intuitive. Just click on join classroom, and then it's going to look like this, right? You're going to see the instructor in the instructor podium. You're going to see the tiles, everybody in the room. If anyone has been pinned, they will appear at the very top. This is the seating chart I was telling you about. So for instance, I can organize everybody by who who raised their hand, and Lindsay appears first because she raised her hand first. I can see who has thrown a reaction, right? I can see level of participation. These students who appear first have exhibited below average participation, and then above average participation. They can also see who's unverified and who has joined the room that shouldn't be there. But yeah, you see at the very bottom, you have those tools that you're familiar with: unmute, start video. There are a few more here because I am joining as an instructor, but you will still see the share screen, the reactions, raise hand, and so on. All right, coming back to this. All right. If you're prompted to open class, when the app is detected, select allow. Yes. So it says you want to open the website, say allow. All right, so I want to play for you a very brief video, less than 2 minutes, that goes over all of those steps. And I think that's very useful because it's a very organized video and it takes you, again, it's like a review, okay? So let's listen.
Are you prepared for class? Class is the next generation virtual classroom. Your MDC Live professor may use class. Here are some tips to get started. First, go to mdc.class.com. Next, click the download button located under the Download the latest version of class section. The download will automatically be saved to your computer. Locate the file and follow the installation wizard. Once completed, launch the class app. Click on Sign In, then click on the key icon to choose SSO as a sign-in method. Enter mdc-edu as the company domain and click Continue. The Miami-Dade College sign-in page will open. Enter the student credentials to log in. To join your class meeting, navigate to your MDC Live course in Canvas. From the course navigation menu, select the class tool located on the left navigation bar, and locate the live session and click the launch button. A new tab will open in your browser with several options. Select Launch Class to join the class and allow requested permissions. It is recommended that you join on a desktop computer, not a phone, to enjoy the best learning experience. You'll notice that class has a variety of new features. If you need tech support, please call 305-237-9800. As always, Learning Resources is here to support you.
All right. So as the video mentioned, it's very important that you join using a desktop or a laptop, because if you use your phone, you're going to have, not all the learning tools are going to be supported. So for instance, these are some of the things that you will be able to do, but for instance, some reactions may not be supported on the phone, or some features of the whiteboard, for instance, will not be optimized on your phone. So definitely try accessing class using your desktop or your laptop and not your phone to get all of the learning tools, all of the features are supported. All right, so another thing that video mentioned that is very important is for you to call 305-237-9800 if you need help, if you have any questions about class. Remember that every single phone number at MDC starts with 305-237. So just remember 9800. I'm dropping that in the chat box. I've also hyperlinked here another link that you will find helpful. This is a list of links that CIOLA has put together. Actually, make sure that when you click on that, you click on Class MDC Live 2.0, and then you'll see, information about class for Zoom on your phone, which we discourage because it has less features, but like getting started, participation basics, and all of this will review what you saw in class in this workshop. So For instance, if I click on participation basics, you're going to see a video that goes over these things, and these are made by class, right? So there's lots and lots of things, and you can continue navigating through here or browsing through here, using class, troubleshooting class, collaborating, but you have others here, features overview. You may even download backgrounds, right? So lots of cool stuff here that you can use. So you can browse. All right, everyone, thank you so much. I hope that you have found this brief workshop helpful, that if you are taking an MDC Live class, that you are now prepared in the event that your professor chooses to use class. Thank you.